Shalom, first and foremost, I like to give all glory, honor, and praises to Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. Double honors to the apostle elders, the great millstone who rule well. And salutations to all you brothers out there pushing this word in love, truth, sincerity, and humility. Once again, it's the brother shot there from the Chicago camp, coming back to you with what I hope is another quick and edifying sit down. And as you can see, this is our good buddy, Dr. Thurman Johnson. And, you know, I don't subscribe to his ideology whatsoever, but he said something that was very interesting about the whole pink elephant rainbow lifestyle. So we're going to let the mighty Dr. Umar speak his mind, and we'll get some scripture.
I love all African people, but I reserve the right to disagree with any lifestyle that threatens the survival of the traditional African family.
Now, seeing as we might, if you're new to this, I'll say if you're new to the truth and Dr. Umar, you know we don't subscribe to anything. We're not Africans, okay? We're Israelites. Just thought I had to put that out there.
LGBTQ is the new birth control pill.
Mm-hmm.
Why do I say that? 2 men cannot reproduce. 2 women cannot reproduce. And now they're even transgenderizing our children. Do you know what that means? They're manipulating and indoctrinating African children to undergo sexual surgery so they'll never be able to reproduce again. When Dwayne Wade's son, Dwayne Wade, whose son is now legally had his birth certificate changed, he's legally a girl.
Yeah.
Hormone therapy. When he gets 30 years old and looks in the mirror and says, you know what? I don't like living like this no more. I want to go back to being what God made me, a man. I want to get a wife and I want to have children. We only got one problem, don't we? Your reproductive is gone. We got another problem. Your testosteronic levels are gone. Your ability to produce healthy seed is gone. There is no going back. We are not looking at this LGBTQ thing the way we should be looking at it. It is birth control and racial extermination. Why you think Kamala Harris is traveling throughout Africa, trying to convince African countries to legalize gay marriage? Why does America care how Africa chooses to run its society? What do you care about marriage in Africa? Because if we can invade African culture to the point where we can manipulate African children into same-sex relationships or outright transgenderism, which is the extermination of your bloodline, we can start predicting the reduction of the African population. They'll never be able to get rid of all African people, but they can damn sure make a dent in our numbers. But more than that, they can disrupt the natural, traditional, healthy, cultural way that we live our lives, build our families, and run our societies. LGBTQ is one of the greatest weapons of white supremacy against the survival of African people.
Well, I have to correct Dr. Thurman on that one. The taking away of our heritage, that is number one. But I do understand where he's getting at. And it's true. Okay? As he said, 2 men and 2 women cannot produce. Okay? It's the perfect birth control, because you see, the Lord told us at the very beginning, let's see. Genesis 1 and was it Genesis 1 and 22? Nope, Genesis 1 and 28. And it says, and the Most High blessed them, and the Most High said unto them, be fruitful and multiply and replenish the earth and subdue it and have dominion over the fish and of the sea and over the fowl of the air and over every living thing that moveth upon the earth. Okay? So the Lord gave us a commandment, man and woman, to be fruitful and multiply. But 2 women and 2 men can't do that. And I've done a video on what he mentioned later on in that brief interview segment where he was talking about how you have all these leaders like Kamala Harris going over to Africa and trying to convince the leaders and the people over there that they need to accept that lifestyle. And they've been getting huge pushback for it. And I saw a video that explained the reason why they're getting so much pushback is because if these leaders were to accept this lifestyle, then they would get unlimited amounts of funding. See, this guy is trying to make sure that everybody is under that influence. And that's why when we go to Jeremiah 51, and I think it's 7, it says, Babylon has been a golden cup in Yahweh's hand that made all the earth drunken. The nations have drunken of her wine, therefore the nations are mad. And part of that is that pink elephant lifestyle. You have to remember when the Georgia Guidestones were up, they're no longer up anymore, that was the first so-called commandment, for lack of a better phrase. That was the first commandment on the Guidestone, to reduce population to 500 million, 500 million. Okay? And what better way to reduce a population, a world population, by a drastic amount than to tell them that you can be whatever you want to be, that God made a mistake, and you can just, hey, if you want to decide to be a chick when you're a dude, that's okay. If you want to be a dude and you're really a chick, that's okay too. Right, this was a carefully calculated and meticulous plan, as Dr. Umar said, which is why that 2 Corinthians 2 and 11, where it talks about lest Satan should get an advantage of us, for we are not ignorant of his devices. 2 Corinthians 2 and 11. And it says, lest Satan should get an advantage of us, for we are not ignorant of his devices. And Dr. Umar is very right in his assessment where he says it is a deliberate tactic to reduce the numbers of all the nations, even his own, but especially what he calls the so-called African family unit, which we're not Africans. So-called blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans, we are the true Israelites of the Bible. And that was a carefully thought out plan to reduce the population of the Israelite family. And see, this plan has worked out so well that now it's even ruining his numbers. He's being snared by his own devices. Now, granted, he wants to reduce the population, but at the same time, he wants to reduce the population where he still has the numbers on his side. Okay? I want to say it's how was it worded? I want to say snared in his own devices. Yep. Here it is. This is Psalms 9 and 16. And it says, wait a minute, I might have to start at 15. Yep, I might have to start at 15. This is Psalm 9 and 15. And it says, the heathen are sunk down in the pit that they made, in the net which they hid is their own foot taken. It says, Yahweh is known by the judgment which he executeth. The wicked is snared in the work of his own hands. It says, the wicked shall be turned into hell, and all the nations that forgot God. And see, that's what's happening right now. Okay? The Lord. Yes, I know, son. I always say that. But this is what we have going on right now in the world. The wicked being ensnared by their own devious plot. Now their numbers are hurting so much to the point where they can't even replace them. So even with their ultimate agenda with the Georgia Guidestones, it still presents a problem, because you want to rule the world where you're on top and you're ruling, but if by chance, which we all know you're not, but let's say by chance you did get to the point where you're ruling the world, you won't even have the numbers for it. So it's a beautiful thing when the wicked get ensnared by their own devices. And this is only going to continue in the days to come as we wrap up this divine movie. So I hope you all were edified. Until the next time, we are going to say Shalom.